Good morning. Welcome to a Wednesday edition of Morning Scone presented by Brock, the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic, and Hudco Roofing, hudcoroofing.com. Why is this say scheduled and not live? We are good, yeah. Okay. All right. Hey, YouTube, if you're watching live, do me a favor and just drop a comment, drop a hello type deal, just to make sure that I am in fact live there. Okay, Trivia's there. Okay, good morning, good morning, good morning. All right, we'll say some good mornings. Let me know what y'all got. Of course, inching closer to regional play. SEC spring meetings are going on just down the road from us. We are actually, Erica and Drew and I, going to take a ride today down 30A. Going to go look for a bumper sticker for Terrio, but don't tell him. I'm looking forward to slapping that thing on the back of his gigantic truck when we get back, and not telling him. See how long it takes me to find out. All right. SEC spring meetings going on just down the road. They're talking about SEC scheduling, future scheduling models. So 8 and 9 game models seem like that's what's on the table. Where they land, we'll see. Probably scrapping divisions, it sounds like. Pods are out. So you're most likely looking at that either a 1-7 model, the 1 permanent, 7 rotating, or the 3-6 model where you'd have 3 permanents and then 6 would rotate year to year. So let me know y'all's thoughts. We'll say some good mornings, fire away with questions, all that good stuff. Ryan, Amanda Guidry, Kirk Taylor, Michael Clark, Brian Penton, good morning from the Big Apple. All right, man. Aaron Hornsby, Truax, what's up? Ricky Lambert. Let's see, do you think LSU pitches backwards, Dutton, Floyd, Hilliard? I do not. And you definitely wouldn't go that order, Kirk. You would go... Because if you chose to hold Hilliard from the first game, you would absolutely throw him in the second game, because one of 2 scenarios would unfold. It's either the marble game, which is the winner's bracket, meaning someone would have to come back and beat you twice after winning again in a loser's bracket game, or you're facing elimination and your season's on the line. So if you do not throw Hilliard game 1, you absolutely throw him game 2. That's not even a question. I don't think you can mess around in game 1. You don't have the luxury on this team of having a deep pitching staff where you feel like you could play your way out of a loser's bracket. So you've got to go win that first game. And like we talked about yesterday, there have been instances in the past where LSU was in a home regional in a 1-4, and they faced, a Jackson State or a Lehigh, a team that they felt they could beat throwing just anybody, just throwing a midweek arm, and did. I don't think that's the case here in a 2-3 matchup with Kennesaw State. So, no, you got to throw. I think you have to throw Hilliard game 1, win it, and then hope Floyd has a great game, very likely against Southern Miss on Saturday. Kelly Gross, Bob Poole, good morning. Bubba Tatum, good morning. Good day for hockey playoffs. Go Bolts, all right. Could not even tell you who's in the hockey playoffs, but good luck to whoever you like. Brian Broom, Chase Pellegrin. Hey, Dad, good morning. Let's see. Trivia, Cameron Machin, good morning. Or Mackin, or Machin, you've told me before. Mackin or Machin. I'm going to go Machin. I'm probably wrong. John Melanson, Spurge, good morning. Larry Garner, Joseph Armato, Gary Abraham. Haven't been able to watch AFR lately. Updates on spring transfers that might be coming in. Okay, so, I'm sorry, it's Gray Abraham. So, Gray, I'm out this week. If you're looking at spring transfers, you'd be talking about any additional transfers they might add with their 2 remaining spots. So nothing on that front, and I wouldn't expect it until probably, well, let's say June. but you'd have to look at players that were grad transfers that entered the portal after spring at positions of need. So if a tight end popped up, you'd probably take a look at it. Cornerback, offensive, defensive line, spots where you need some help. Really depends on if it's a player that you'd be willing to take. And I'll maintain, man, I think that you absolutely fill those spots, because remember, the rules change next year. The initial 25 number has been wiped out. So you can sign as many players as you need to get to 85. So it's not like you need the 2 spots this year to backfill. So I'm down with using those. If there's someone who wants those spots, sign them. Let's see. Dave Vendur, good morning. Trivia, when does Oklahoma and Texas join? 2025. So you've got 22, 23, 24, and then 25 would be the first season that they're here. I mean, unless if something changes, right? I mean, they could always pay an exit fee from the Big 12 and leave early, or things, Big 12 could dissolve, or more realignment could happen. So things could happen, but as it's stated now, it'd be 2025. Randall Uffrecht. Good morning, Matt. What's your feelings on LSU being favored on all the betting apps to win the Hattiesburg Regional? So 2 things. Number 1, I mean, LSU is the most talented team in the regional. When you look at Berry and Cruz and Doty and Morgan, Raiselman, I mean, they have more, LSU has more guys that'll be drafted than any in this regional. So I do understand that. And you got to keep in mind also that the betting apps are certainly looking for action, dual-sided action. So they're probably going to lean heavily toward LSU because they know LSU will be a public play. So because people know LSU, they just assume LSU will go in, which they might, but I don't think it's going to be easy. Let's see. Dave Endur, Southern Miss has a great ERA. Do they have any stud lefties? Well, I don't think you even have to worry about that because you're going to face Tanner Hall most likely in the winner's bracket game. We talked about him yesterday. From Zachary, stud, ERA of 2, 130 strikeouts, 11 walks this year. He's been awesome, and that's most likely the dude LSU will face in the winner's bracket game if they get there. So now LSU's hit righties pretty well, but Hall is a really, really good one. All right. Let's see, their other starters are Hunter Riggins and Hurston Waldrop. Riggins is a righty. Waldrop is a righty. So the 3 starters are all righties, but you're most likely going to face Tanner Hall. Let's see. Kirk, Florida, Auburn, Bama. Are you saying those are the 3 that you'd like to see, or you think will happen? Because I don't actually agree with that, because if you do that, then you're going to somehow mess up Auburn, Georgia, Bama, Tennessee, Florida, Georgia, those rivalries that they're working so hard to maintain. I think the more likely thing is LSU could end up with maybe like A&M and the 2 Mississippi schools, or Bama, A&M, and one of the Mississippi schools, but probably Ole Miss. I think that's more likely to happen. Chase, what format SEC division scheduling would you like to see? I don't think you need permanent opponents at all. So what I would like to see isn't going to happen. I mean, I would like to see a true round-robin rotation of every team in the league, but you're just not going to see that because they're going to maintain some of those rivalries. So you're either going to see the 1-7, an 8-game conference schedule where you have 1 permanent and 7 rotating, or a 3-6 where you have 3 permanent, 6 rotated that alter year to year. And I think they'll end up going to the 3-6 just because you're adding 2 more teams to the league, so you're going to need more games. It's also more inventory for your TV partners when you bring Texas and OU into the league, which makes it more lucrative. You're probably going to see an expanded playoff anyway, so you're going to be able to lose a game or 2 and still get in. So that's what I think will happen eventually, is the 3-6 model. Dale Broussard, tuning in a little late. Hopefully I missed today's earworm. You know what, Dale? You are so lucky that you have not yet, so let's just hit it.
When you need a roof, call someone you know. Scone, Ontario.
All you need is HUD
Call HUD Roofing.
364.
1007.
That's right, Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Do business with someone you know. And oh, by the way, posting in the comments the link to leave a review for Hudco. If you would, please, would very much appreciate you clicking that link and leaving Hudco a 5-star Google review. Helps with SEO, that's search engine optimization, for those that don't know. Would be very, 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 very appreciative if you could do that. Let's see, Skip, Southern Miss, think their little ticket scheme will work this weekend. I got news for them. Yeah, LSU fans are going to find their way into that park. They're actually going to overrun that park. Richard Dukin, Matt, good morning. Go New York Rangers. Okay. Derek Adams, good morning. Scone, with LSU having a super tough football schedule, I predict 8-4. What's your prediction? Haven't made a final prediction on it yet, Derek. I think 8-4 would be a solid year. I've said that I think LSU's ceiling this year would be 9-3. So if you go 9-3, manage to win a bowl game, get to 10, I think that would be the ceiling for this year for LSU. But if they settle in somewhere around 8-4 and win a bowl game, I think that'd be a good year one. Taylor Calandro, you on vacation? Must be nice. I am, yes. Coming from the guy who just got back from Paris and Amsterdam and got a Weller 12 in French and whatever. Jerk. You're not really a jerk. And Muso's hosting today, Taylor. So I don't know if we're doing a Whiskey Wednesday on AFR today. You'll have to take that up with Muse. Richard Yesko Hudco. Thank you, Richard. Appreciate that. Kirk, let's see. Tough for Scone to agree this morning. I'm so tired of the SEC protecting that stupid rivalries no one cares about. Bama versus Tennessee, when the last time the Vols won. At least LSU and Auburn and Florida have some intrigue. Yeah, man. The tough part about that is Bama, Auburn, Georgia, Tennessee, Vanderbilt, Ole Miss, Mississippi State. Like, that's half the league that wants to preserve some type of Florida, Georgia. So Florida, throw them in there. And then you're going to have Texas and OU coming in, Texas A&M. Like, you're basically at a point where everybody in the league except LSU, Arkansas, and South Carolina and Kentucky have a traditional rival that they want to maintain every year. Like, Ole Miss and Mississippi State want to play each other. Bama and Auburn, Auburn and Georgia, Georgia and Florida, Vandy and Tennessee, Bama, Tennessee. Like, they all want to play each other every year. So it sucks for LSU, but if you're LSU, man, you are in the minority. Like, you're one of only 4 schools in the league that really don't care about maintaining a permanent opponent. So you're going to lose. You're going to lose that one. So it's all about finding a way to put together that schedule that's going to be the most advantageous. Is in the field, and that's not a knock on Cranford, please don't misunderstand. Remember, if Barry's in the field at third, that means you can DH Dugas, or you can DH Joe Bear, put Dugas in left and Pearson in right, and that gets your most potent offensive lineup on the field. Jason Horn, good morning. Is it time for the shuffle? You just missed it, Jason. I mean, you literally, if you just get here, you just missed it. Lowell Cormier, let's see, Taylor. Me and Moose can talk about Amsterdam for 15 minutes. He's an expert. Ah, yes, a weed joke. Very good. Love it. You're going to have to take that up with him, though. All right. Appreciate y'all for watching. YouTube, smash that like button. Facebook, please like the page, share the post. I should mention as well, if you're on YouTube, please subscribe up to the YouTube channel. Set the bell. We'll notify you when we go live. And then Facebook, when I say like the page, I mean like the Matt Moscona page. So like, yes, please like this post and all that stuff and share it. But if you go to the page, you can hit the little like button on the page as well. So you get all of our, whenever we post on the page, you'll see it there. Ah, Machen. Got it. All right, where am I? D. Snoots. Good morning. Spurge, getting a bit of sun? Yeah, Spurge, but I'm actually intentionally, because we're here the whole week, kind of taking it somewhat easy there, like making sure I stay under the umbrella, using a lot of SPF, trying not to become a lobster in a day, basically. Merritt Bethurn, Cliff Nelson, good morning. Go Rangers, Boo Bolts. This is the most hockey content in the comments I think we've ever had in the history of the show. Dave Ender, Josh Smith thought he was back at LSU, got plunked twice. Yeah, man, so Josh Smith, after a 3-for-4 debut 2 nights ago for the Rangers, last night, when I looked in the 8th, he was 0-for-1. He had a line out to the pitcher and he got hit by a pitch twice. So his on-base percentage is still kind of incredible right now. Let me see if I can find it real quick. 1 second. Rangers won again. Let's see. Here we go. Smith got the start at third base, but yeah, so he finished 0-for-1. So he finished 0-for-1. Got hit by pitch twice. So his batting average right now is 600. His on-base percentage is 714. So pretty cool to see, having some early success there for Josh Smith. Tim Gotro, what's up? Trivia, thanks, Dale. That's about the HUDCO jingle. Roger Dodger, a 9-game conference schedule is better for fans. I agree completely. Listen, you take away one of the rent-a-wins, you give fans more of what they want to see. I'll say it forever and ever and ever. Nobody gets jacked when the schedule's released and you see LSU against Northwestern State. Nobody wants to see LSU ULM or LSU Southern or LSU Central Michigan or LSU Kent State. Like, nobody wants to see it. It's not a thing anybody at all wants to see. So give people more of what they want to see. Joey B19, how does a 2-game gap in the SEC make the difference between Aggies being a 5 overall seed and LSU not hosting at all? And A&M with an RPI in the 20s. So in a literal sense, to answer your question, that's the problem with the committee, right? The committee can do whatever it wants and then explain it later. So there aren't criteria they follow to place teams. And that's the disappointing part, because you will always find inconsistencies, like exactly what you just mentioned. Let's see, if the college football playoff goes to 8, the SEC can go to 9 conference games. If it stays at 4, the SEC will stay at 8, probably. Unless I think it has less to do with the playoff, honestly, and more to do with Texas and OU coming in, because I still can't imagine a scenario where an SEC champion in winning an SEC championship game would be left out of a 14 playoff. I just can't, that scenario doesn't exist in my brain. You'd have to have it. It would have to be the weird, 2001 LSU that went 5-3 in the conference and went to the SEC championship game and upset number 2 Tennessee. And so you had a 3-loss SEC champion in LSU. It would have to be that. But it's just so hard to imagine that happening. I mean, that was 21 years ago, So, could it happen every 2 decades? Maybe. But again, I think we're headed for an expanded playoff. All that stuff is inevitable. Let's see. Good morning, y'all. Good morning. Skip, Joe Bear is struggling in right. Hey, look, Skip, I'd say this, man. I don't know that he's struggling in right, but I think you would agree with this. He's just not Pearson. And maybe you got the best illustration of that when LSU played Tennessee, right? When both of the corner outfielders from Tennessee made amazing running catches. The triple that Tennessee had in the first inning of the game on Saturday. I'm not saying that it was an easy play, but it was a play that a plus outfielder could have made. And even if he didn't catch the ball, you would have played it properly off the wall, and you probably hold the runner to a double instead of the triple, and the runner doesn't score on the pass ball by McManus, right? So there are those little things that I would agree with you, Skip. He's not a great defender. He's not an outfielder, But if you have to get his bat in the lineup, then that's what you have to do. So that's why it'd be great if Barry's back. If Barry's back, you put him at third. You put Joe Bear goes back to DH. Dugas goes in left, and Pearson goes to right. Nate Guidry, good morning. Nate Dog. Let's see. Don't always listen live, but always listen. Appreciate what you do. For how much Hilliard was not supposed to be the Friday night guy last year, this year, he's been incredibly consistent and reliable. Having not lost a game since his sophomore year. Well, he did lose this year. The Ole Miss series, there you go. Hate to imagine how things might have been had he not been solid the past 2 years. Yeah, the thing about McHale, too, is you have to credit, he did in some respects sort of reinvent himself this year as a senior, and I think Jason Kelly probably deserves a lot of credit for helping with that, sort of expand his repertoire. Because the thing about McHale is that the book had been out on him, man. He was really he was a breaking ball fastball guy, and if he wasn't locating his breaking ball, then he had to come over the plate with, 86, 88, and that's a recipe for trouble in the SEC. But he's added a change, and he's added other pitches to his repertoire this year, which has made him a much tougher pitcher to face. So he's been awesome. There's no doubt. David Tolson, good morning from Colorado. Go Avs. So he got even more hockey. Are they even in it anymore? I don't even know where they are in the playoffs. I guess, or are they in the Stanley Cup Finals yet? Quentin Breakbill, good morning. Earl, how did LSU let Tanner Hall get away? So I told this story yesterday, and I, again, would really I wish Terry were here to tell it, because he could tell it much better than me, because he's the one that told it to me, because I asked him that question. So Tanner Hall went to Zachary, and apparently he was a multi-sport guy. I think he maybe played lacrosse and baseball. And so he wasn't a 12-month baseball guy. And so he was really, really skinny, 160 pounds. And so he was throwing mid-upper 80s. Good stuff, but mid-upper 80s. He just didn't have a lot of power. And so there were some who tried to sell Nolan and the former staff on Hall and say, look, he's thin now, but when you put weight on him and he's focused fully on baseball, that mid-upper 80s is going to be low mid-90s with all the plus stuff, and you're going to want this guy, in your rotation. And they passed. And look, in fairness, a lot of people passed. He went to Southern Miss. It's not like he left, LSU didn't sign him, but he went to Florida, So, so they passed, and he went to Southern Miss and did exactly what they said. He gained a little bit of weight, and now he's popping mid-90s and has 130 strikeouts and 11 walks. I mean, he's incredible. So, I mean, he'll be the best starting pitcher in this regional, and he would be LSU's ace if he were in Baton Rouge right now. So that happens sometimes, man. But the flip side of it is a story like Paul Gervais, right? I mean, Gervais was a JUCO kid in North Carolina, and nobody really wanted him. But Nolan Cain. I mean, Gervais is a Nolan Cain signee, by the way. I mean, Nolan's the one that saw a video on him and said, 6'10", throwing low mid-90s with that arm angle, so they offered him. And Gervais's college coach tried to tell him not to sign with LSU. He's like, you're never going to pitch at LSU. Stay local here where you'll actually get on the mound and pitch. But kid bet on himself and showed up here, and look, I mean, he's LSU's closer now. It's an incredible story. So there are those stories both ways, man. There's strikes and gutters in recruiting. But Tanner Hall's a kid from Zachary that would have given an arm to pitch for LSU, and he'll have an opportunity to make him pay for it probably on Saturday. Hey, John Fisher, good morning. Hope you're having a great time at the beach. Thank you. We are. Appreciate that, John. Hope you and the family are doing awesome. Todd Harris, good morning from Georgetown, Texas. All right. David Tolson, yes, the Avs are they're in the conference finals. Okay, gotcha. Chance Babin, Cranford is playing solid at third and swinging better. Chance, so I'd like to put some perspective on this for you, okay? So when you say Cranford is swinging it better, I just want to put some perspective on this. So hang on 1 second with me, okay? Yeah, so this is not, I'm not being critical, okay? So some people get upset with stuff like whatever. But I just want to put some perspective on this for you, okay? You say swinging it better. In the SEC tournament, Collier Cranford was 0 for 10 in the SEC tournament. He batted 0. I mean, I don't know what to tell you, bro. And he struck out once in each game. So 0 for 10 with 3 Ks. I don't know how you tell me 0 for 10 with 3 Ks is swinging it better. Now, he did have a two-hit game against Vanderbilt on that Sunday when they beat him, or Saturday and beat him 21-10. So there was that day. But on the season, he's hitting 136. He is 6 of 44. He's 6 of 44 with 15 strikeouts. I mean, you understand that the ball against Tennessee, he hit to right field. Beautiful play down the right field line by the Tennessee outfielder. Made an awesome play. But we look at that, we go, oh man, he's coming along, he's hitting it better. That's the outlier. Still the outlier. Again, I don't mean for that to come across as a criticism, just an explanation to say, if Jacob Berry is available to play, he plays third base. I don't know if he can. I really don't. I don't know if he can throw the baseball, if he can grip it and throw it. I don't know. So, but if he can, he's got to play third, because that allows you to get Pearson and Dugas in the outfield and Joe Barrett DH. That is your best lineup, and you've got to put your best lineup on the field in the postseason. You know what I mean? But see, Chance, you said I know what you mean. Like, I know what you mean, that he's looking more competent. Like, maybe more competitive AB, that's all fine. But there's still there was literally no productivity there in the SEC tournament. It was over 10, over 3 games. Like, 0, you know? Craig Duga, good morning. Kenneth Westbrook, good morning. All right, a couple more here. Wendell Norman, Eric Wilderotter. Morning, Matt. Knowing what you know, what do you think we actually needed to do in Hoover to get to get a regional? Eric, I mean, maybe beat Tennessee. You know, that might have done it. But Eric, it's so hard to answer that question because I'm telling you, like, and I don't mean to keep, like, you know, digging up this conversation again, but Eric asked, like, this is the truly, like, perplexing thing with the committee, and that's sort of confounding. I mean, I'm telling you, I know that they had a Zoom call on the Wednesday after the Ole Miss series and had LSU as the number 16 seed. So LSU was swept by Ole Miss and still a top 16. And the determination about LSU then was, hey, go win 2 at Vanderbilt and you've locked yourself in. Well, they swept Vanderbilt. Got to 17 conference wins, then won another game in the SEC tournament to get to 18. There's that 100% should have been enough. But they got in a room and decided that if East Carolina, because their high RPI, was going to be a host, and there was nothing LSU could do to unseat that, despite the fact that East Carolina had only 7 quad 1 opponents all season. They were 2-5 in those games. They didn't play a damn person. I mean, if you decide that Maryland with the 107th strength of schedule is going to be a host, well, how do you unseat that? You know, Georgia Southern, same thing, even though they lost their conference championship. You know, it became less about what LSU could do and more about the committee deciding what they wanted to do and then explaining it later. I don't know if that makes sense, but anyway. Jake Matern, yeah, man, good meeting you last night. So last night, Eric and I went to dinner at a place in Destin here called World of Beer, close to where we're staying. So we just popped in there to have a quick meal, and I got up to go use the restroom, and the guy stops me. He goes, "Hey, man," he goes, "You a big fan, whatever?" He goes, "I saw the Hudco hat. I was wearing my Hudco hat, and I had it on the bar." So man, I saw the Hudco hat. I was like, "No way." Jake Matern, a morning Sconer. How about that? It was incredible. So we took a picture. Jake, I guess y'all were there, for trivia? Y'all were there to play the trivia last night, you and your guys. But thanks for saying hi, man. That was awesome. Really, really good to meet you, dude. Because he told me that his name was Jake, and I was like, Jake what? He's like, Matern. I'm like, oh my God, I recognize the name. Morning Sconers. But yeah, dude, thanks again for saying hi, man. Great to meet you. Earl, Matt, does this turf infield worry you? No, Earl, and I'll tell you, listen, LSU struggled on turf in the first midweek game of the year whenever they went and played up at Louisiana Tech. If you remember, it was cold and rainy that day, and I think they kicked the ball around 5 times. I think they had 5 errors in that game. But LSU just played Vanderbilt on an all-turf field and swept them. So, yeah, by this point in the season, that can't be an excuse. You just, if you need to go practice in the LSU indoor facility, take grounders, off of that field turf, you do it. But no, that can't be an excuse right now. Eric, sorry about that. On the same page with you, just trying to make sense of it, which seems like a fool's errand. Yeah, man. I mean, it's all good. I can totally appreciate asking the question. That's the part about. I mean, I guess there's 2 schools of thoughts, right? And I don't know that either one is necessarily the exact right way to go. But you could either have a committee and let them arbitrarily decide how they want to place teams, Football does it with the College Football Playoff Selection Committee, and basketball does it with the Basketball Committee. Or you could just look at something like football used to do with the BCS and have a metric that everybody knows this is the metric going in, and you could tweak it, accordingly throughout the years. But this is the metric, and this is going to spit out who gets to play in this postseason. And I guess the committee's trying to have its cake and eat it too. They basically are doing what they want and then explaining it later however they want to explain it. That's the really tough part, because it's a moving target then. So if you're LSU, I've told you this, but LSU won 17 conference games in the regular season. The last time an SEC team won at least 17 games in the regular season and did not host was LSU in 2018, when they got sent to Corvallis. And then Arkansas this year won 18 in the regular season. How do you look at Florida, which won 15, where LSU won 17, and LSU had a head-to-head series win on the road at Florida? Like, how do you look at those two and say Florida's more deserving? It's tough, man. Like, it's hard to make sense of that decision. And people say, well, they played, into the weekend to the SEC championship. Okay, well then, if the SEC championship matters so much, why is Auburn hosting? Auburn got bounced by Kentucky on the opening day when Kentucky was the last team in the field. And Auburn had one fewer SEC win than LSU. So why is Auburn hosting? That's the problem. But look, at this point, it's done. There's no point in crying over spilled milk. It's what it is. So you look at your draw, and I think LSU did get a good draw. I think this is a winnable regional for LSU. I don't think it's going to be easy, because I think beating Tanner Hall is going to be really hard if you get there on Saturday. But it's a winnable regional, and I like who they're paired with. You avoid having to go to Knoxville or Corvallis or Stanford. You have a doable draw. I'm not saying it's definite, but you have something that's doable. Chance Babbitt, I went to a Maryland home game in 2009. There were less than 200 people. It felt like a high school game. I guess they made improvements. And they won the Big Ten. Now, the Big Ten was, in the conference RPI, the Big Ten was 7th, behind leagues like the Sun Belt and Conference USA, which is just embarrassing. But, the Big Ten was atrocious this year. But they won the Big Ten going away with the 107th strength of schedule. And so they're top 8. Becky Thornton Herod, good morning. Harley Doucette, good morning, or Doucette. How do you feel about LSU's drop? Yeah, love it. Legit path to Omaha? Yes. I did just answer your question, yeah. I do. I think LSU can win this Hattiesburg Regional. And I think, Miami, look, the ACC was legit this year, and that will be a very tough draw, having to go down to Miami. But no tougher than having to play Tennessee or anybody like that, so. And then if Arizona or Ole Miss end up pulling the upset, Jay Johnson obviously knows a ton about Arizona, and if it is Ole Miss, you probably end up playing that series, that super regional in Baton Rouge. So, I'd like another crack at them with Barry back, with a loaded gun. All right, y'all. I think we're just about done in trivia. Should trademark my name. Rapping Batches, good morning. All right, y'all. We are done. Do me a solid one more time here. Remember, shout out to Brock, Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic. August the 8th, Brock Rock and Wine returns. New date, new location. August the 8th in Tiger Stadium. So check it out, brortho.com for your tickets, brortho.com. And then if you would, do us a favor. I have pinned in the comments the Google review page for Hudco. If you would just take 60 seconds and just click that that link, leave us a 5-star Google review. I would appreciate it so very much. So thank you all. Samuel Smith, who sits the bench if Barry can play third? Cranford goes to the bench. Yeah, you go back to the lineup you had before Barry got injured. You put Barry at third. Pearson goes to right, Dugas in left, and Joe Bear DHs. Bryce Burks, good morning. All right, y'all, I think we are done. Sorry, Bryce, you just jumped in right as we're leaving, buddy. But y'all have a great day. Have an awesome hump day. We're heading down 30A today. We're looking forward to go make that drive and see the sights, see what we see, and get Terry O bumper sticker. So anyway, all right, y'all have an awesome day, and we'll see you. Peace.